Marcus Rashford. You are circulating across the internet again of that picture of him and Kylian Mbappé. Rashford had his hand on Mbappe's head. People are starting to believe again. He's making us all believe again. Comes inside of Callum Roberts, flashes it past Danny Ward, and you're going, Marcus Rashford is back. Is he now a guaranteed starter?
It's a massive, massive question. But that just shows the attacking options that we've got. Is he a guaranteed starter? I think he's given himself every chance of starting that game. And if you're looking at someone who's now at a later stage in his career, he's overcome challenges now. He's a real pro who's had dips in form come back. But that quality that he showed us in glimpses when he was younger, and then had a few really strong seasons, and then we could say maybe fell off a bit last season and the start of this one. He's back, and the quality that we've seen in those World Cup games has been really good. I think the keeper saves the free kick. Should do, but the qualities that he's shown, he's putting himself in a really strong contention to start that next game.
I agree. It's probably the question of Bukayo Saka or Raheem Sterling or Marcus Rashford. What I find so crazy looking back on it, obviously he's kind of going through a rejuvenation of form, is that there was a period of time, and people say it was crazy, when people comparing Marcus Rashford and Kylian Mbappé, physically they pose the same kind of threats. Obviously Mbappe's way better technically, but there was a period of time when Rashford burst onto the scene, scoring on every single debut possible, that people were comparing the two, and he's had a hard time of it. We know about stuff off the pitch, and we know about how he struggled on the pitch, but during the summer he went to Oregon, and he went through some intensive training, and he got bigger, and he got quicker, and he got more physical, and I think you saw that in the last game for England. And I really, really hope, and I think a lot of England fans feel the same way, hope that this is Marcus Rashford back to his best, because what he can do and what he can pose the Senegalese in terms of England's next game in this World Cup is frightening. When you saw him get the ball, you see players just sit off of him because he's so quick and he's got good feet. So I was glad to see him get on the score sheet and score those couple of goals. That free kick, you've been a little bit harsh. I think it was he's practiced there. I know the keeper probably should save it, but it's a great free kick.
No, if we just speaking on Rashford for a second, you mentioned Oregon there. Professional footballers are people, right? And I can't stress enough how much the mental side of the game is important. Those moments where you want to score a goal. We saw it with Lukaku, lacking in confidence. He scores those goals. But for Rashford to go away, and I've spoken to a few people close to him, and they said, yeah, he's on it again. He's on it. He went to Oregon. He's got the love back, got the buzz back. But the mental side of football, you have to get that right. And players go through stuff. They go through, it's a lot of high pressure situations. They go through it. So they should be afforded the occasional drop in form. But for him to go and get himself mentally happy and in a good place, that's something we should all celebrate, because now we're seeing the result of a happy, top class English player on the pitch who could be starting and being really influential in the rest of this World Cup.
He's looking dangerous, man. And I think, as you said, it's been a while since we've seen Rashford actually have a smile on his face. And I think it's quite nice as England fans that you get to watch another happy England forward wreaking havoc. And to be fair, you mentioned Kylian Mbappé. Don't kill me for this. But he's averaging a goal every 36 minutes, which is a better goals to minute ratio than Kylian Mbappé, who is at 69 minutes. So I'm not saying this in front of me is saying, I'm not saying this in front of me saying that.
You'll get some stat fans who are going to be screaming that.
Yeah, they're going to be fuming. They're like, he thinks Rashford's better than Mbappe. But I think, as you said, Rashford over the years, especially in his early career, had very close similarities to Kylian Mbappe. The difference here, obviously, is that Kylian Mbappe has done this season after season, and he's still so young, whereas Rashford has had the dip in form. In terms of England, you have Sterling, you've got Saka, you've got Foden. Foden would have to miss out if we're saying Rashford is a starter, and you mentioned Saka, Sterling, and Rashford didn't mention Foden. So, firstly, where does that leave Phil Foden?
It's such a tough one, and we've said it before, but every international tournament rolls around for England, and there's that player that people cling on to. He should be starting. It was Jack Grealish at the last tournament. It's Phil Foden in this tournament. It's difficult because I like the balance of England, the way they set up in the last game against Wales, and I would probably leave it as it is in terms of...
So no Foden?
No, leave it as it is in terms of the start. So Foden started that game. Okay. I would start Foden.
So no Saka?
No Saka, no Sterling. And I'm a Chelsea fan. And it's hard to say because Sterling's performed so well for England. And he obviously scored in the first game. And he seems to deliver when the pressure is highest. But I really like the balance that England side against. It was a poor Wales side. I like the threat of Rashford just constantly just attacking and going in behind. I like the guile of Foden maybe dropping in a little bit deeper and coming into midfield and being an extra man. I really liked what that England team were about. Obviously, Harry Kane maybe needs to start banging in goals, but I think those two players, and Foden and Rashford, bring the best out of everybody else in that team. So I would start those two.
It's crazy. Look at the options we've got.
Yeah.
Look at the conversations we're having. For me, the question I'd like to throw in the mixer is 20 minutes to go. Who would you rather come off the bench, Rashford or Sterling? Because that's something Southgate's got to be thinking about, especially with extra time. And we've seen how many minutes are getting added on in games. For me, Sterling has done it for England. He's done it on the big stage. And I think I don't mind a 30 minutes to go sub. If you come on, Southgate's not afraid of making an early sub. And I think if we needed a goal off the bench, who would I rather come on, Rashford or Sterling? I'd rather Rashford came on.
Yeah,
and I think Sterling can be influential from the start.
Yeah.
And then if we need a goal, we need a moment for brilliance from Rashford, then he can come on. And I think that will be something that Southgate will be thinking about, because it is a squad game and we are lucky to have real depth in the attacking options. And I think that's a question that I think the manager will have to be sussing out. Where's Rashford going to be most influential for this team?
I think he's kind of giving himself a bit of a problem, because he brings in Rashford against Wales. It's a bit of a free hit. Rashford turns up and plays brilliantly. Foden turns up and plays brilliantly. And now he's going, well, I've got Saka, who played really well against Iran. I've got Sterling, who's always been my guy. I've got Grealish, who hasn't even touched the form that he probably wants him to play at. I haven't seen Maddison at all. We've got Sterling, Saka, Foden, Rashford. Mount as well.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Yeah, and then you've got... Yeah, he's in a situation where he likes to use his substitutions, so I think he will go. Rashford is a great substitution option. So is Foden. I think he goes back to Saka and Sterling. In my opinion, I don't think it has to be Foden. I think Foden at City impacts off the bench just as much as he does when he starts a game and impacts the game. It also depends what system he plays. And I think if he switches to a back five, which I'm pretty convinced he will, I think then he'll go, who's my safest option, rather than let's roll the dice again. Because you have to remember, Rashford played in a game against Wales where it was genuinely a free hit. If England draw that game 1-1, there's a little bit of, a bit of stick on social media, but it wasn't the end of the world. Rashford comes up against a tired, pretty much finished Wales side, does what he does. Can he then go and do it in a high-pressure game against Senegal like Sterling has done over the years?
Yeah, it's difficult, because watching England, I know everyone lauds the Iran performance, so do I. It was a great performance and the result against Wales was great. But until England get that first goal, they struggle. The games are very, very tight. And I just feel like with Marcus Rashford, with that attacking impetus from the beginning, will give England a better chance of maybe scoring a goal early on and being able to dictate play, because I think that's where England are strongest, when they've got a lead and they can kind of slow the game down and really control it and suck the life out of the opponent. And I think Rashford gives you the best opportunity to do that by starting. Again, I might be a prisoner of the moment because he scored 2 fantastic goals against Wales and he scored 3 goals in this tournament. He's a joint top scorer. But I just like what he brings to England. I like the balance that England side had with him in it. But I do love Raheem Sterling as well. I feel so bad. I feel almost sacrilegious for me to drop Raheem Sterling, especially after his performances in the Euros, where he was getting so much stick pre-tournament and he turned up as England's best player. So I would start Rashford, but again, like you touched on, we've got so many great options.
This is the best and worst of football, isn't it? No one would put Rashford in their starting 11 before the World Cup. Couple of goals. And you're right in the mix. Forget an up and down season. You score a couple of goals, everyone forgets everything. So, yeah, it's the best and worst of football, and it's a fickle thing. Yes. And I'd really struggle to look past going back to Sterling and Saka. And then you got the question of, do you put Foden in for Mount? People are asking for that too. It's really tough for Southgate, but I think he'll go back. I think he'll revert to the players who he's trusted in the biggest games the most often.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.